Welcome to the Midnight Matinee with your host and hostess, Robert and Angi Curtis.
Welcome, everybody, to the Midnight Matinee. Today we're going over
the movie Heretic.
Heretic.
From 2024. It actually came out last November. It's now on Max for your viewing pleasure.
Yep.
And here, I'll just go ahead and give you the synopsis. Two young missionaries become ensnared in a deadly game of cat and mouse when they knock on the door of the diabolical Mr. Reed. Trapped in his home, they must turn to their faith if they want to make it out alive.
Yeah. So basically, the two main characters are missionaries for the LDS church in like Salt Lake.
Yeah.
And they're going door to door, following up on people who said they were interested in talking about the Mormons. So
the converting or whatever.
Yeah. So that's what they do. They're young girls. The main character, I guess, I would consider, even though I think she's not really. I think the other one's probably the main character. But she's from the Yellow Jackets.
Oh, yeah.
She's really, really good in that. She's been in a whole bunch of things recently, that Sophie Thatcher, so I don't know if maybe she got famous because of the Yellow Jackets. She's been in a whole bunch of stuff lately.
Yeah, we really like the Yellow Jackets, but we've only seen season 1 so far.
Right.
We're waiting for the other ones to drop.
Yeah, to go on to something other than the Paramount Plus or whatever they're on.
What I found interesting about Sophie Thatcher and Chloe East, who plays the other Mormon missionary girl, they are both actually were raised in the Mormon faith, but they're like ex-Mormons now. So they were able to kind of bring something to this film, that's real.
Yeah, how about that?
You don't always get that, you know what I mean?
No.
So yeah, they go to the door, and seemingly nice old man, or no, I guess he's not old, because Hugh Grant, but
an older guy.
He invites him in, and I was screaming, "Don't go in there! Don't go in there! Don't go in there!"
Yeah, his character's very off-putting, and his kind of a.
It puts tension.
Yeah.
And I said to him before we even started watching it about H.H. Holmes, who was this notorious serial killer from the early 1900s in Chicago, who would create these kind of labyrinth in his house. Yeah. And come to find out that this Mr. Reed character that Hugh Grant plays was based on that. Yeah. So we totally called that. Yeah. Yeah. But
basically he thinks that religions are bunk, and he invites these people from different religions over to kind of talk to them about their faith or whatever. And then he through this whole elaborate scheme, he's going to prove to them that their faith is not real and all their religion's not real. And it's all right.
I mean, he was definitely well read. He brought up some very interesting points. Yeah. He used modern day culture icons like Monopoly and a song, and shows how his idea was that all religions come from a single source. Yeah. And I think he was really he was basically testing these girls' faith. Right. And I think he was trying to undermine it and see how far they would go. Right. And basically led them to a very dark and scary place.
Right.
Which made me the whole time like,
Yeah, it didn't help that it was like pouring down rain, and his house isn't the most watertight thing in the world, and there's a lot of that. And then it changes over at some point during the night to snow.
Oh, yeah.
And so then it's like cold, and the atmosphere is very good.
Very isolating.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only actually 4 people in this movie. Right. And the 4th one being Topher Grace from that 70s show.
Well, and then there's I don't want to spoil it, but there's a bunch of women in the basement. So yeah, there's like 5 of them.
Yeah, we don't
want to spoil too much because it's a good movie. But yeah, what do you think?
What do you want to go ahead and rate it already, or do you want to?
You want to talk more about it?
I mean,
the setup is really simple.
Yeah, and the fact of the matter is that if we tell you much more, we're basically going to spoil it. So yeah, I guess we go to our rating system.
Yeah.
Here we go. Bonk. We kind of went back and forth, but we think it's a 1 out of 5. We're going to do 3 out of 5, which we think is blood curdling.
Yeah, blood curdling.
Thrilling enough to make you look over your shoulder, but not quite enough to keep you up at night. Solid, but sinister. I think it was a very interesting premise that they put a narrative and almost a theological.
Yeah. The thing about this story is that it for some reason it's in like the horror genre, and it's not really. It's a suspense movie, really.
More like a psychological.
Yeah, a psychological thriller kind of thing. It has a little bit of gore in it, and there's a little, little bit of terror and that kind of stuff. But I as far as like a horror movie goes, it's not a horror movie. I didn't feel like there was, he's not really like.
It was disturbing.
Yeah, it is disturbing, and the Hugh Grant is usually a good guy in his movies. So
yeah, he's usually charming and very likable characters.
Which he is in this too. That's how you get suckered into the whole thing, is because he is a nice guy, and then he comes off as that in this, where he's like trying to calm them down and get them to fall into. Yeah,
at first I was like, am I just nervous because they're nervous, or is it, is there something really going on here?
Yeah.
You're like, but
yeah. And then, like I said, everybody raved about this movie when it came out. And Hugh Grant got, how many nominations they were talking about?
There was
a lot.
A lot. I can't remember what that was. But, I mean, yeah, and even like, it has like a 7.1 on the Rotten Tomatoes, and it got like a lot of like accolades and whatnot.
Yeah. I just felt like, I don't know, like it just wasn't. It was missing something, in my opinion. Like the basement, like I don't want to go too much into it, but like the H.H. Holmes like death trap part of this is kind of weak, and it's not really what it was like. The way it was marketed, it's not that at all. It's not like he sets him loose in this maze of like, discovery.
It's not like a Saw movie.
Yeah.
Like where you're like.
And it was kind of sold brutal. As that. Like it was sold as like he drops these girls into a labyrinth where they have to uncover, the secrets of their religion and all. Like none of that happens in this movie. It's
a lot of him kind of. A lot of him talking.
Yeah.
Like he's very well versed and well read on the various religions and the whole bit. History, I guess.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I just felt like if we were in this because of the like Murder Palace type labyrinth, then they should have built a more elaborate set. Because really this set is it's a living room, it's a hallway, it's a basement. It's a hallway in the basement. So, I mean, it has less than 5 sets, you know what I mean? And it kind of...
Well, and it kind of showed he had made a wooden version of his labyrinth.
Right.
Which looked a lot more elaborate than what we actually kind of saw.
On his desk, he has a model of the whole thing, and it has, like, all sorts of rooms and things you slide around, and you don't see any of that in this movie.
Yeah. And maybe it's because it's Hugh Grant, too. I mean, he's always, like I said, he wants to play. He came to the directors and said, I want to play something completely different. And they tailored this movie to him. He didn't want to be stereocast in the same role that he's played over and over and over and over
like,
again.
He's always the boyfriend.
Or he's the schmarmy other guy. But, it's like...
Right.
But he's fun. He's always been fun.
Yeah, like I said, I wanted to give it a higher grade because I feel like the acting was really good in it, but at the same time, they're not a whole lot to act. Like there's not a whole lot of story here. Like if you went to a movie studio and gave them your pitch for this movie, that's the script. Like legit, like you just sat down for a minute and just banged it out and they're like, well, what are we going to elaborate on? Like, no, none of it. There's nothing else to elaborate on. This is it. Like these 2 girls go in here, he tricks them into the trap, you know, his intent is to get rid of him. Like that. That's the story. That's the entire story. So I felt like it like I say, it wasted opportunities. We say that a lot. Like, this movie had a bunch of wasted opportunities.
Yeah. Well, in the ending, I was still kind of like, which way did it go? You know?
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm not going to tell you, but I'm like...
And that's kind of a lazy Hollywood thing, too, recently, is they have that ambiguous ending.
Ambiguous
so
is a
it
good
could
word.
be, like... It can be interpreted in different ways, so they can go back and go, oh, look at how clever we are. Like, clever with a capital L. No, it's just lazy. Like, it just make the movie, show us the ending, and then cash your check. Like, we don't need to build a whole mythology. There, you know what I mean? There's not going to be, like, a Heretic 7. Like, it's just... Stop it. Just tell us how you want the ending to be. Like, don't be morally ambiguous with it. It just doesn't work out, you know, because now when you watch the ending, you're kind of like, well, that was obvious. And then, oh, well, that's even obvious. Like, so what are we even doing, you know? Because when it gets to the final scene, it has like a dreamlike quality to it. And you're kind of like, so yeah. And then it's over.
Well, and I kind of like, we didn't film this originally because I think we watched it, Saturday night or was it Sunday? I think it was Saturday night. So we had some time to kind of brood on it and kind of see if, you know, because sometimes when you watch something, you're like, and then after a couple days, you're like, oh. Yeah. But this one, I really didn't have any moment.
No.
Other than I had some crazy dreams.
About
being stuck in a labyrinth.
I just felt like.
More like a Scooby-Doo, though.
Yeah, like the whole... I'm not going to spoil it for you, but like the elder comes looking for them, and like actually goes to the house where they disappeared at. Like, so you know what I mean? So he like he got their list of houses they were going to visit, and then he started going to the houses on the list. You know, so when he goes to the house and he's like, yeah, they were here, and then he goes to the next house and the guy's like, no, I never sold them, and then he goes to the next house and like, yeah, I never seen them. So then like. Get out your slide rule. Yeah, the swarmy guy that answered the door is the one that has them, right? Because they were here, they're not here, they're not here, they're not here. So then obviously this guy's lying, call the police.
Now they actually, in terms of his house, they kind of, I even saw it mentioned your favorite Rue Goldberg.
Yeah.
Right. But not on the level of like some of the crazy ones. Like
it isn't though. That's the whole thing. Because I saw that too, where they were like, "Yeah, he uses these elaborate traps." And like, did you get some sort of talking points?
Saw had traps.
Were there some kind of talking points that was handed out to all of you terrible journalists? Like, no, there was no elaborate traps. It's stairs that go into a basement.
Well, I even read something like Forbes thought it was like the best movie ever.
I know.
Forbes.
I saw a lot of that. Like, there was a lot of the Access journalists that were like, this is one of the best horror movies of the year.
Isn't
like,
Forbes about money? Like, how does that fit into the film industry?
Yeah, how it fits is the studio wrote them a check, and then they cashed it. That's how it fits into it. That's how Access journalism works.
Hugh, if you see this, we like you.
Yeah.
But you're just not scary enough. I'm sorry.
Well, I kind of feel like that's what they did on purpose, though. Is that he's not an intimidating person, so that's why he lures the people in, right? That's why they kind of cast him in that role. But I just feel like this movie is very one-dimensional. You know what I mean? Like, if it had like a Saw component to it, where there was like, you pick this door, or you pick this door, and if you go down the path, then you go into this room, and it's all full of fire, or what, you know what I mean? Like, things like that would be really good in this, and it has none of that. None of it. I actually, when they first, like, adjust to the darkness in the basement so they can actually see what the basement looks like, it was such a disappointment for me, because it was like, do you pick this door or do you pick this door? You know, you belief or disbelief, or you go down, and then that's like your choice has different consequences. Nope, it surely doesn't, because both the doors go to the same place.
You just spoiled it.
Spoiler alert. Yeah.
No more.
So, I mean...
Reel it back.
When you start there... Right, because that's like in the beginning of the movie, like, and then you're like,
Well, the girls, when they first came on, I was like, they're a little flat. Like their conversations, and maybe it's because they were trying to set them up as innocent and naive in the world.
Well, like, the Sophie Thatcher, I think, is a little more with it. Her character
but they were talking
is
about,
a little more with it. Because your introduction to the girls is they're sitting on a park bench talking about
sex,
magnum-sized condoms or whatever.
Yeah, the magnum-sized condoms.
And the Chloe East character has no idea about sex or how any of that stuff works, and it's obvious. Then the Sophie Thatcher character is kind of like, oh yeah.
Well, she was saying though, the funny was though, the Magnum condoms, are they really bigger or are they the same size?
Or is it a marketing thing? Right? That's her whole thing, right? And the Sophie Thatcher character is like, yeah, they're bigger. So she's a little more worldly than the other one is. And then when they first go in the house, some of that plays out where she's kind of like, let's bolt, you know. And the other,
I would have bolted after the first conversation when Hugh Grant was like about wives and the Mormon religion.
Yeah, because they're like not supposed to be left alone with the dude in his house.
Well, he even said that there has to be a woman present, but they still went in.
Right.
But there's more to that. But
I'll tell you, this whole movie could have been a 10-minute short if they only had a concealed carry permit. That's all.
Though I have been craving blueberry pie since.
Right. He's like, you want to eat the pie? Like, sure. How about eating this bullet instead?
Okay.
Cut.
Reel it
Roll
back.
the credits.
We give it a blood curdling 3 out of 5.
Yeah, we gave it the middle of the road because I felt like it could have been. Yeah, what do you think? It could have been a fantastic movie because it has a really good cast. The idea is solid, but their execution of it left a lot to be desired. I felt like when like I said, I can't spoil it because I want you to see it, but at the same time, go watch it and then come back and watch our review
and see if you agree with us or if you disagree with us. We'd love to know.
Right. So we'll save it. Maybe we'll follow up on it with another. We'll do like an episode of movies that were disappointing.
We kind of looked at the movie schedule and the movies that are currently out. There's one, the Locked In, which with
with the car.
Bill Skarsgård.
Yeah, that looked really good.
We considered to go into that, but then we ended up not doing that. There's Woman in the Yard, which I think that pretty much you see everything in the trailer, but I could be wrong.
I've heard bad reviews about that already, so
yeah, we need to get out and go to another one. We just didn't do it this weekend.
Or we'll watch something on streaming and do it.
Well, you watched something that you just finished up with Linda Blair.
Yeah, the Summer of Fear.
I only caught like about 5 minutes of it.
And that I haven't seen it since it was on television. That's how old it was.
I've never seen it.
And I really, really liked it. And that movie has no budget. It has a lot of good actors in it, but the story is solid. And that's what carries it, because it has a really good story. And the way that the actors all come to the realization of the plot is all at different times in the plot. So then when it has that payoff at the end, you're on the ride, right? You're there, you're invested, it finally gets to the end and you're like, wow, man, that was a good movie.
Kept you guessing.
It has like a $1.50 budget. They spent all of their money.
You said it was a mini series or like
it was originally a those
2-night
miniseries things.
Because he said he had been watching it and then he turned it back on. I'm like, most movies are only like an hour and a half to 2 hours long.
It's like 2 hours and 3 minutes or something like that.
Well, what was that one you were watching on Shudder? I was actually doing some sewing, but you were watching a movie from the 70s, I think it was, and they were being chased by a ghost. There was a ghost in the house, the mansion or something, and they were locked in, I think. I don't remember. See that?
No, I don't remember either.
He was watching it.
Yeah. I have a thing for those kind of 60s horror movies. Like, at work, we have a TV in the prep room, and I've been watching The Witch from 1967, and I really, really like those movies. I like movies from before they had to have a message in the movie, so you kind of get like in the what is that guy's name? Bava. like those kind of Italian giallo horror movies, like Dario Argento, where they don't really show, they don't really have to show you a bunch of stuff, but then when they do, it's always like over the top gory and you know what I mean? Like those are fantastic movies.
I thought you were watching the Hill House or the House on Haunted Hill or something. It had a similar premise where they all went to this house, and unfortunately I was only listening to it. I wasn't watching it.
I don't even remember what it was.
But we like those kind of movies. I would love more than anything to have like a statue that you opened up and a bookcase opened up to a mysterious stairwell somewhere and that kind of thing.
Your H.H. Holmes death house.
I do. I want an H.H. Holmes death house. I want a new old Victorian house. I want it to be old on the outside, but new on the inside.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Finding that though,
you couldn't find it because it's new.
Well, I know.
So you'd have to build it.
That's what I'm saying. Someone out there has got to have something like that.
All right.
I know he shakes his head.
Reel it back in.
Reel it back. Oh, that's mine. Reel it back.
Heretic, blood curdling. It gets 3 out of 5.
3 out of 5.
So there it is.
And we'll see you next time on the
Midnight Matinee.
Here's Todd.
You've been watching the Midnight Matinee, brought to you by the Veritas Project. So when the clock strikes 12, grab your tickets for the next episode of the Midnight Matinee.